a service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC News and Jib Jab Greetings. I'm Bud Lowell. Your full AccuWeather forecast is right across the top of this and every CNC local news page. Well, it was 71 years ago that a young Marine named Walter Simolio was literally shaken out of bed by World War II.
So I was down there in the docks between the dry docks. One dry dock was there, was the destroyer Dowd, and another one, they got bombed on there and they were burning. Then I ran down towards the other dry dock where the cruiser Helena came in, and she took a fish right mid-ship. And I wasn't far from there because I felt the blast. Well, those are the things I remember very vividly, but for 2.5 hours, there was hell.
On this Pearl Harbor Day, a much older Walter Simolio, he's the guy with the microphone in the photo, was one of 2 Rochester area survivors of the Japanese attack who made it to the annual Rochester commemoration ceremony at the port in Charlotte. Dozens of people came out in the cold beside the Genesee River at the Rochester Yacht Club as 3 color guards saluted Simolio and Navy veteran Stanley Pollock. He's the center in the photo. Both Pearl Harbor survivors then tossed a wreath into the river as a rifle squad fired salutes and a bugler played taps. More than 2,400 American military personnel and civilians died in the bomb and torpedo attack on Navy and Army installations at Pearl Harbor. America was immediately launched into the Second World War on December 7, 1941. Veterans gather at the port in Charlotte each December 7 to pray and commemorate those killed and wounded. Bobby Kugler of Rochester wept as she appeared in Monroe County Court Friday morning and agreed to a plea deal that lets her avoid murder charges in the death of 4 of her children. Kugler pleaded guilty to 4 counts of second-degree manslaughter, 3 counts of second-degree assault, and 1 count of arson. She is accused of intentionally setting fire to her home on Grape Street in Rochester when she lit pictures of her boyfriend on fire, then tossed them onto a dresser filled with combustible materials. That fire, back in February, spread so quickly that 14-year-old Gage Reeve, 13-year-old Greg Kugler, 12-year-old Candy Kugler, and 6-year-old Caden Kugler were unable to get out. They died in the fire. Kugler, another child, and 2 other tenants of the house managed to escape. By pleading guilty to manslaughter and assault, Kugler will spend between 7 and 15 years in state prison. The Webster Central School District is making the switch to full-time kindergarten next fall following the advice of an advisory committee that issued its report to the Webster Board of Education a month ago. The school board voted Thursday night to extend the school day for its kindergarten students by 2.5 hours. About 500 children will be affected. The board will set up an implementation committee to work with teachers and staff gearing up for the change. A survey of district parents earlier in the year found more than 76% supported the change. New York State provides transition funding to help cover the costs. The majority leader of the Monroe County Legislature says he is backing County Executive Maggie Brooks' proposal to charge suburban county residents a snow and ice removal fee. Republican Anthony Danielli of Pittsford told host Bob Smith on WXXI's 1370 Connection program this week that the fee is a fair and equitable way to provide the service. County Executive Brooks, who is also a Republican, moved snow and ice removal from taxpayer-funded services in her 2013 budget proposal, and she set up a user fee to pay for them. Brooks says the burden of state and federally mandated spending gave her no other choice if the county is to meet its obligations, keep the streets and sidewalks plowed, and not raise the tax rate. County officials estimate property owners will pay $15 for every $100,000 of assessed value. Brooks says paying for snow removal directly would have forced the county tax rate up by 1%, and she vowed to hold tax rates flat. County Democrats immediately dubbed this part of Brooks' $1.2 billion budget the snow tax, and they've been accusing her of playing games to artificially keep the tax rate less than it actually is. The legislature's Ways and Means Committee held a public hearing on the budget Thursday night. It's due to be voted on by the full legislature on Tuesday. During the meeting, Republican Daniele acknowledged some public anger, but said whatever the snow fee is called, taxpayers will see the amount is reasonable and it's being shared by the entire county. And the French bulldog, found abandoned last month in a pet store restroom, has recovered enough to be handed over to a local agency for adoption. Greece Residents Assisting Stray Pets, or GRASP, has taken custody of the dog known as Pierre from Lollipop Farm, where he was sent for emergency treatment. GRASP was first contacted by store employees when the dog was found the Sunday after Thanksgiving. GRASP brought the dog to Lollipop Farm at the Humane Society's request so they could investigate how he came to be abandoned and why he was unable to keep food down. Pierre was released from the Lollipop Farm Animal Clinic on Wednesday and is living with a foster caregiver now. GRASP said in a news release that it will be looking for a permanent home for Pierre once the dog is fully recovered. For now, he needs constant care. Some 50 families have already come forward asking to adopt the dog when he's ready. Lollipop Farm's investigation into Pierre's abandonment continues. To the left of this player window are links to these and other stories. At the bottom of the page, links that you can use. Post us news items you've written, things you've heard about, and because we're a community news resource, we want to see your wedding announcements, birth announcements, business opening announcements, all that sort of thing. It's news to us because it is news to you. Next news is as it happens. Updates are when necessary. You can help us be the judge of that. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.